2 days of delays, the Texas Senate approved the rules for the upcoming impeachment trial of suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton. As a reminder, this follows the House impeachment of Paxton over 20 articles ranging from bribery to abuse of office. Now, the trial heads to the Senate. It will start on September 5th, and Paxton or his counsel must appear before the court by 9 a.m. that day. Here to break down some of the rules for us is our very own Monica Madden. You have been at this for the last 24 hours.
I have.
So, okay, we know the senators will act as jurors, voting whether to convict. One of those jurors is Paxton's wife. There's been a lot of questions surrounding if she'll have to recuse herself.
Yeah, no, when I first got these impeachment rules, my hands on it, I immediately, and it was online, I started searching for the word recusal. It didn't pop up. And that's because they were really specific in what her role is. She will not be able to vote yes or no on any of the articles of impeachment. She also will not be able to participate in the trial in the sense that she cannot ask witnesses questions. She can't participate in, that type of questioning of what's going on in the process. However, she is able to speak with other jurors. Okay. And so I think a lot of, there's questions about what level of influence she may be able to have. I can't speak for the senator. I don't know her intentions. She did put out a statement just not too long ago saying that, she voted against the rules, and she had previously said that when she was first elected, she took an oath to uphold her duty based on the laws of the Constitution, and this doesn't change that.
Okay, and even during our editorial meeting, we were talking about this leading to the next question. We've been hearing a lot of comparisons, really, of this impeachment trial to a typical civil or even criminal trial. But as a reminder, we know that senators will not be voting on criminal charges, but really determining Paxton's fitness for office and possible removal. So with that said, will the senators as jurors be prohibited really from discussing the trial?
Yeah, there's a lot in here that talks about communication. Once, when the trial is going on, those senators are not just the senators, but their staffers. They're allowed to have legal counsel as well. Anyone who's involved in this formal process and who will be, having access on the floor when this is playing out is not going to be able to talk to the public about it. Now, there also are some specifics in here, and we're still, this is still fresh. Yes. We just got this last night, and we're sorting this out with some of our legal experts. Our Ryan Chandler is going to have more in our later evening shows tonight with that. But, there was something in the rules that mentioned press conferences and said that, members of the House Board of Impeachment Managers and jurors, they can't have any talk to press on the floor. They can't talk to press behind the chamber. And I mean, mind you, press is not allowed on the floor in general, but there were all these restrictions. So it kind of made me wonder, well, are there some times when they are able to have a press conference? Is that just before the trial officially starts? So some of those things that we need to get clarity on, but I can tell you, Jen, when this first all started playing out, we saw some senators making statements saying, hey, constituents, I know you have questions. I can't talk about this. And I think we're going to continue to see overall that type of response in general
from them.
Or non-response.
Yeah. 3 senators voted against the rules last night. Heading back to last night, Senators Angela Paxton as well as Bob Hall. And so looking at that right now, what do we know about that? Do we know why? Sarah Eckhart as well.
Yeah, Sarah Eckhart, of course, our senator from the Austin area, she also voted no, and she was the only one who provided some commentary as to why. I've got that printed out right here, and I'm going to read that for you. She talks about how she appreciates how thoughtful they were and methodical about these rules, and she did a lot of history reading into impeachments herself to kind of know how the lay of the land worked. And she said, these valiant efforts nevertheless fall short of fair trial procedures and deviate significantly from historic precedent. The rules that will go to the floor later for an up or down vote are unprecedented in the authority granted to the lieutenant governor as the presiding officer over the court of impeachment. So Senator Eckhart goes on to just say that she has concerns about the lieutenant governor's powers in the proceedings. When we saw the impeachment of former President Donald Trump, we saw that the Supreme Court justice presided over that. That's not going to happen here. Our Texas Supreme Court justice will come in to kind of swear people in, but he's not going to preside over that. The Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is going to continue to have that role, and she goes on to express more concerns about some of these rules. We were talking about communication.
Yeah.
Something that one of our colleagues who has a law degree was reading some questions and had some questions was although it says that they can't communicate, unlike a trial in the criminal court system where the jurors are sequestered and they aren't ever given a position to talk amongst each other, there are some, options, I guess, if you will, where senators can take a brief break during the trial and go behind the Senate chamber, and it kind of gives room for human error. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. They're all promising that they are taking this very seriously, but humans make errors, and a lot of people involved, including staffers and legal counsel, are going to have access to this information. So you have to wonder if it could lead to possible comments or leaks down the line. Okay, and a lot to really sift through with these documents. Ryan Chandler has a story coming up. What will we see with that? Like I said, he talked to a legal expert and someone who has deep understanding of policy and constitutional law. So they're going to be kind of going over that and some historical precedent and just kind of sift out more of these rules, like I said, because it's still all very fresh, Jen. Okay, Monica, thanks so much. You'll see that story coming up on KXAN News. David?